Gen Z and working. Two things that go together like oil and water, fire and ice, middle-aged mums and normal workouts. I don't know what them ladies be doing with their parachutes and trampolines, but that's a whole nother topic. Anyway, my point is, these are things that don't necessarily mesh well. And you might be thinking, what's so conflicting about Gen Z and work? Gen Z goes to work, clocks in their hours, and goes home just like everyone else, right? Well, yeah, you'd be right. However, lately there's been a lot of negativity about Gen Z in the workforce. People are saying Gen Z is lazy, Gen Z doesn't work hard enough, Gen Z is entitled, Gen Z isn't skilled, and a whole bunch of other bibble babble. We've become a target or scapegoat for all the faults of present day work. You see it and hear it all the time. If someone doesn't show up to work 3 hours early at the crack of dawn, it's probably an unpunctual Gen Z kid. If someone doesn't want to put their heart and soul into creating useless PowerPoint presentations for meetings that never happen, it's probably an ambitionless Gen Z kid. If someone doesn't want to work until 4 a.m., it's probably a weak Gen Z kid. If someone expresses any type of resentment towards the 9 to 5, it's probably a spoiled Gen Z kid. If someone has any self-respect and doesn't mate ride their corporate overlords, it's probably an uncivil Gen Z kid. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some truth in some of that, but it's more or less fake news. Now, to understand this situation properly, let's set a structure for the video so you and me can both wrap our heads around this phenomenon. I'll be splitting it up into 3 sections: the accusations, the reasons, and the solutions. Let's jump into it. The accusations. Where do I even start? There are so many go-tos that boomers use against Gen Z. Let's start with the basics. Gen Z is lazy or Gen Z doesn't work hard enough. Let's just group them together since they're basically the same thing. Look, I ain't even got a cap. On the surface level, it's kinda true, kinda not. You got one half of Gen Z grinding like crazy for the bag. I'm talking zero self-respect, glazing, slaving away, just doing anything and everything to get one step higher on the corporate ladder. Then you got the other half of Gen Z who have realized the state of society and the BS that comes with the modern 9 to 5, and they simply refuse to overwork themselves for what is essentially nothing. And then, yeah, you got a percentage of Gen Z who are brain dead and bums, but we don't need to speak on that. The next one is Gen Z is entitled. Now, I've heard this one being thrown around more than Mia Khalifa in her prime. In fact, so much so it's not just boomer bosses saying it, it's everyone. If Gen Z opposes the status quo by even a little bit in the workplace, the word entitled will come flying at you faster than the speed of light. And here's the thing, I don't think Gen Z is entitled, apart from certain people here and there. I think Gen Z has respect for themselves in this situation, definitely not in other areas of life. What the bosses think is entitlement is actually dignity. That might be an unpopular opinion, but hey, we love juicy takes on here. Think about it. The long hours, the ass pay, the exploitative working conditions, the disrespectful treatment, all things Gen Z disputes whilst other generations just accepted. I'll elaborate more on this in the second section, but let's keep going. Gen Z isn't skilled. Now this one is funny. This one is really funny because last time I checked, these old heads be expecting 10 years experience for a no experience job that pays $2.50 and a Big Mac, no fries, no sauce. So how is Gen Z supposed to be skilled when they don't have the chance to gain skills? This is a low IQ statement that shouldn't even need to be addressed or explained. Moving on. Gen Z job hops. You hear this all the time. They complain that Gen Z changes jobs too often and aren't loyal to their companies. Yeah, look, back in the day, people stayed at their companies for 15, 20, even 30 plus years. Why? Because they had no reason to leave. Nowadays, if you stay at a company for longer than 3 or so years, you'll be getting underpaid. And in this economy, you gotta go where the money is. Plus, it's not like a lot of these workplaces really want to make you stay and turn it into a forever home. And the final one, Gen Z prefers remote work. Yeah, cool, and what? Who wouldn't prefer better work-life balance and proven increase in work productivity? It's like Gen Z is supposed to reject having a better life and make it harder for themselves. So dumb, man. Like, bro, not my fault the managers hate their lives at home and need to get away from their wives and kids. I'm good on that front. I like my home life and there's more to life than working for me. But for most of these old heads, work is all they have and the office represents that. So yeah, those are the accusations. And now it's time to jump into the second part, the reasons. I'm not going to provide and explore specific reasons for each individual complaint because there's really no need for that. Everything can be explained as a whole or one overarching reason. If you're lost and you don't know where I'm going with this, let me cook. I believe all of this is caused by 2 things: cost of living and awareness. Look, I'm no economist or anything, but it's kind of obvious that the cost of living is through the roof. Housing is expensive, groceries are expensive, fuel is expensive, college is expensive, healthcare is, well, something else for you freedom lovers. Inflation just be going crazy. Now, this links quite heavily as to why Gen Z gets those accusations, which again, kinda true, kinda not, kinda there's more to it. If 23-year-old John can't afford to buy a house in the future, struggles to pay rent, fuel's burning his wallet, groceries and bills are raw dogging his savings, all of which, by the way, limits his fun/relaxed time, hobbies, traveling, blah blah blah. Why would he care about committing himself to the 9 to 5? Like, legit, why? There's no real monetary incentive and most people don't work passionate jobs, so there's minimal self-fulfillment incentive. So why go above and beyond? I don't know, I can't really blame Gen Z with this one. They see working as a treadmill, they're running but getting nowhere. The second point, awareness. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. People back then were stuck in a matrix and were bots. Now, in their defense, life wasn't easy 24/7, so they didn't have the time or energy to care about the NPC-ness. Nonetheless, let's be real, they were just unaware about, well, a lot of things. Let's keep it 100, that's how it was. With Gen Z, they're more aware of the grander, more intricate workings of society: politics, political tactics, workplace standards, unfair workplace practices, prioritization of health longevity, mental wellness, economic direction, and yada yada. Now, I know some nerds could come in here and say, well, people back then were actually smart and blah 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 blah. Bro, they believed the dumbest shit back then. They thought cigarettes were good for your health, and if you ate a watermelon, you'd be 9 months pregnant with a watermelon. That's all I need to say. People were less thinky. So how does this tie into work? Well, you can't have problems if you're unaware of the problems. That's bars. I think that summarizes everything beautifully. The end. Actually, nah. Another point. You can argue that they were unaware and less thinky with the brainy because life might have been good. House, partners, kids, car, travel, community, all by the age of 25. Maybe you don't care about the BS if you're still living a decent life and checking off your Maslow's hierarchy of needs quite effortlessly. Same can't be said for Gen Z. That's the truth. So yeah, those are the reasons. Now onto the solutions, or in other words, what would LeBron Le Goat do? Well, there's one major solution: fix the economy, but it's easier said than done. And there are also multiple smaller solutions, but again, they're not easy either. The major one: pay workers more. People will work harder if they get paid enough to meet and to an extent exceed their needs and wants. Obviously, I'm not talking about the goofies who view a Lambo as a need, but you know, you get the point. And don't give me some BS about how businesses got to stay afloat and profit too. Boo-hoo, bro. They gain exponentially more from the employee than the employee gains from their salary. Another solution: shorten work hours/days and or implement more remote work. It's really not rocket science. If people are happy and content with their lives, which less work and more comfortable work does, people are going to be more productive and willing to work because 1, they're fulfilled and have a healthy state of mind. 2, they realize they have it good and want to keep it that way. Hence why they try and go above and beyond so they don't lose it. Simple mathematics, mate. Another solution: bro, just drop baddies like care packages into workspaces and watch productivity rise. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. All of those solutions put together and the world will be sunshine and rainbows. So yeah, that should cover the beef between Gen Z and employers. It ain't really that deep. These unks and aunts are just mad they can't finesse the most alpha sigma 200 IQ generation of all time. Look, Gen Z ain't all that bad. Everything will be alright sooner or later. Well, hopefully. Fingers crossed, eh? Anyway, that's it from me. Let me know what you guys think about this whole issue, if we even want to call it that. Do you reckon Gen Z is actually all of those things that people say it is, or is there more to the story perhaps? But yeah, drop a like, subscribe if you enjoyed this. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Laters.